Please take your seats. The meeting is about to begin. Remember to speak into the microphone, as this meeting is being recorded for public record. Please stand by. We are going on air in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi, everybody. I'm Commissioner Laura Dominguez, Chair of Public Safety and Neighborhood Quality of Life Committee. And joining me today is Commissioner Rosen Gonzalez, and Vice Chair Alex Fernandez will be here momentarily. And from the City Administration, we have the fabulous Stephanie Ray Brooks, our Assistant City Manager Mark Taxis, equally fabulous, and our equally fabulous as well, Deputy City Attorney Rob Rosenwald. Stephanie, do you have any announcements?
Yes, good morning. The meeting today is a hybrid meeting with members of the committee joining in person, and members of the public wishing to join virtual can join by joining Zoom, our Zoom link, or dialing 1-888-475-4499. We have a couple of announcements. We have 5 items that will be deferred. I will read them to the record. Item number 1, discuss relocating the log cabin to its original site on West Lot, will be deferred. Item number 3, incentivizing groceries and food vendors expansions in North Beach, will be deferred. Item number 20, discuss update on Geobond log cabin project, will be deferred. Item number 24, discuss using the portion of the log cabin for community pantry with fridge, will be deferred. And item number 27, discuss future programming opportunities at the log cabin. And with that, that is it for our announcements.
Great, so we'll start with number 10.
Item number 10 is discussion regarding an installation of a bust of General José Don San Martin at the Normandy Fountain Plaza. This item was sponsored by Commissioner Rosen Gonzalez, and Parks and Rec will be presenting the item.
Good morning, everyone. This item is about a bust celebrating Argentine General Don José de San Martin. We have busts around the city celebrating the entire Hispanic diaspora, from Venezuela and Simón Bolívar. We have
José Martí.
José Martí. And so this is just to add to the collection on 71st Street at the fountain.
Do you move the item?
Yes.
I move the item.
Okay, I'll second it, and we'll close this one out, or wherever it needs to go next, and then move on to number 19.
Okay, and I'll show it with a favorable recommendation.
Correct.
Okay. The next item is item number 19, a monthly update on the status of the 5th Street pedestrian bridge and the Mondrian Hotel Mirador Condominium Baywalk projects. This item was sponsored by Commissioner Dominguez, and CIP will be presenting.
Good morning, David Gomez, Director of the Capital Improvements Projects Office. As an update, the Baywalk for behind the Mondrian from 10th to 12th is essentially complete. There was an inspection by Durham scheduled for last week that was rescheduled for today. That's one of the pending items so that we can open and close the permits and open the Baywalk. The other item for the update was the progress on the pedestrian bridge. The developer is here to present any additional information. They did complete the bulk of the utility relocations and have commenced with drilling the test piles, and they're proceeding with that work currently.
Can you remind us, can I be recognized?
Yes, please.
One moment. Can you remind us of the completion date of this? I get this question all the time. And one other question that I got last night that people are concerned about is how we're going to direct traffic on 5th Street as the work is being completed. If you could address both of those items, I'd be appreciative.
So I will start with directing traffic on 5th Street because that's, I think, the easier one to answer.
Okay.
There is a series of maintenance of traffic plans and lane closures that have been prepared and ahead of any closure activities. And that will really be dependent on the activity happening. For example, right now they're doing all of the test piles and they're not closing any lanes, so they don't need it. All of the lanes are open. Once we get to the point where they are flying the actual structure over 5th Street, that will require a full closure, and that'll happen at night. And we have coordinated with police and fire so that everything is, in terms of public safety, is addressed. But we will have to close the entire the entirety of the street for those activities. And that's projected to last about 2 weeks, but again, only at night.
So we're not gonna be ever shutting it down to one lane, just for 2 weeks at night? Starting
Well,
when?
There will be intermittent lane closures depending on the work that they're doing. The next one coming up will be one westbound lane that they're working on ironing out the maintenance of traffic plan now. That's probably a couple of weeks out before they start that.
Wait, we're gonna start that now in the high season?
This project doesn't have a low season.
That should not happen, guys. Closing down one lane on Fifth Street during our Basel seems like a really bad idea.
No, it won't happen during Art Week. It'll be open during Art Week.
How do you guys feel about shutting Fifth Street down to one lane during high season? I mean, I want to get this done,
Yeah, that's
I'm
what I
all
was
for
going
moving
to
forward.
mention.
but at the same time, I think that December, January, and February, you cannot shut traffic down to one lane. I don't think that works.
It won't be shut down to one lane. It'll be one lane shut down periodically and more for safety of equipment as we're installing the structure. But we won't be shutting it down to choking it off to one lane in any respect until we're flying the structure, the precast beams over it, and that's gonna be done at night. That's gonna be a complete shutdown, and that's a complete detour rerouting at night.
And also, I would ask during the week before Art Basel, people don't realize how much setup there is and how the traffic grows. Can we do those 2 weeks? That's really important.
I think we've coordinated pretty well through Art Basel as far as, taking that into account and helping the city out, and I know that's very big, that's a very big week. So internally, we talked through that as well, and I think we've coordinated that successfully in the past.
And now the completion date?
So the completion date right now is, and as I reported last week, last time we were here, is the end of the first quarter of '27. And this is really impacted by utilities for the fact that right now we're drilling test piles, and as of a couple days ago, we hit another unmarked line at 33 foot in depth, which is not marked anywhere, not understood as to even what it is. So FPL right now is looking into it, trying to figure out what it is that was touched. So, as it is, every time we put anything in the ground, we find something or hit something. So, as it is right now, it's there. I think we can expedite that. I can't promise that we can, just because I don't know what's coming. Until we get the structure on the ground, I can't start tightening the schedule, because right now it's just, we just continue. Every time we dig something, we find something.
My one final request would be that as you build this, you equip it with security cameras so that people walking through feel safer, and we know that somebody is watching it, because I've had a lot of questions regarding public safety as you walk through. It's going to be well lit at night, correct?
That's going to be a lot of lighting.
I'm
And
just- If you could put in some security cameras now, I think that would be smart.
Those are already planned.
They are,
Yeah,
okay.
the infrastructure is there for it to be done by the police department after the fact, so they can install their security system that they want.
Okay, thank you. Is that it?
Were there any Baywalk updates?
The one I gave was 10 to 12th Street. Separate developer, the developer for 1250 has commenced meeting with Lincoln Bay Tower, and South Bay Club. We've had those meetings. There's one scheduled for Bayview Terrace, that's coming up. It's either this week or next.
1228?
Yeah. So those are ongoing.
Thank you for the update. Until the
welcome.
next meeting.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Nope.
Okay, item number 21.
Item number 21 is discuss proposed Normandy Owl neighborhood interest sign at the Normandy Fountain and on the western end of Normandy Drive on 71st Street. This item was sponsored by Commissioner Dominguez, and CIP will be presenting the item.
And do we have Howard Chase on the line?
He is on the line.
Can we unmute him?
Yes. If Howard Chase can get him muted? Howard?
I'm here. How are you?
Hi, everybody. Hi, Howard. So the Normandy Sud neighborhood brought up some ideas on how to beautify and improve the signage in that area. And we have David here from the CIP department to tell us more. Howard, do you want to present your side before we go into the city, please?
Sure. That'd be great. And thank you very much, Commissioner, and everybody for hearing us on this issue. It's an important one for us. So I'm a real estate broker. I own my home on Normandy Isle, where I've lived with my family for the last 10 years. I also own several other properties on Normandy and in North Beach. One of my offices is really in the heart of North Beach on the corner of 71st Street and Indian Creek. So I'm very much involved in the North Beach community in many ways, and I'm part of the Leadership Council of Normandy South, which is essentially the southern half of Normandy Isle. And many in our neighborhood, myself included, we've noticed that we have a problem with recognizability on Normandy, and we essentially have kind of like an extremely weak and fragile kind of commercial sector, particularly in areas that should be thriving. For example, the Normandy Isle Fountain. There are several businesses that come in and out of existence, and really that neighborhood should really be thriving. It's a bit of a ghost town. Further, the value of our residential area severely drags essentially behind the rest of Miami Beach, Mid Beach, and South Beach in particular. And personally, I've experienced that many in the population coming to Miami, and I interact with a lot of people, they really have absolutely no idea where Normandy Isle is. And the reason that we've found for that is not that we're not a visible area. It's not that we don't have enough car traffic. It's just that we have absolutely no signage. There is no sign for Normandy Isle from the east to the west, and no sign for Normandy Isle from the west to the east. So we started to look around and do a little bit of an examination. We realized that every single island in Miami Beach has a sign. All the Sunset Islands, the Venetian Islands, Star Island, Palm, Hibiscus, Allison, everywhere, literally everywhere has a sign except for Normandy Isle. So the solution for that essentially is to create a signage for Normandy Isle specifically. And so we had some renderings completed, subject to obviously like finalization and design and everything like that, to essentially elevate the area, elevate the community identity and pride in the area, increase property values due to recognizability, improve neighborhood quality of life, improve commercial desirability, which is an important component, obviously, of any city, and really kind of take our area, because we've been through a real generational shift over the course of the last 10 years or so in North Beach. Obviously, you guys all know that. And to essentially elevate Normandy Isle to the real level it deserves, just like all the other islands. So we had an idea to essentially raise the funds, do the design work for the actual production of the signs, and do them extremely tastefully. And then the ask, and there's some emails on this topic, the ask is that Miami Beach installs and maintains the signs, for example, cleans them and puts the landscape lighting on them and things of that nature. But all of it will be funded privately, the actual fabrication of the actual signs. So that's the issue in a nutshell. We want to create recognizability and signage for North Beach.
Thank you, Howard. David Gomez.
Good morning, David Gomez, Capital Improvements. As you all will recall, one of the sites recommended for a neighborhood sign is the site of an iconic Welcome to Miami Beach or Miami Beach entrance sign for North Beach. It's actually a pair of iconic designs that began in 2019 and whose concept plan was approved began in 2014, and the concept plan was approved in 2019. Both of those plans have been approved by their respective boards, whether HPB or DRB. They've gone through extensive permitting and review with DOT, and we are now preparing the job order contract to get them constructed. So there's a conflict with the proposed location. What the administration is recommending is to do something similar to what has been done in Palmview neighborhood, as well as a recent presentation for Nautilus neighborhood. Using the city's sign and wayfinding plan, we're recommending that the neighborhood work with our planning department and our communications department to develop signage for the neighborhood that we could put up.
Okay, so Commissioner Bott wants to speak first, and then Commissioner Rosen Gonzalez.
So, Howard, hopefully you're still on the phone. I'm a neighbor of yours. I walk and drive by your...
I am, thanks.
Walk and drive by your beautiful storefront all the time, and thank you for making it look so welcoming and eye-catching. I would like to support this endeavor. I very much am going to request that the city and the residents who are already engaged also reach out to David Sexton, to the Normandy Fountain Business Association, to the other neighborhoods that are adjacent to and complement the incredible growth that's happening at Normandy Isle and those corridors. And while I agree, Howard, that it's been an underserved and underutilized corridor, and arguably north and south on Collins as well, for far too long, that is no longer the case. And while there is still a lot of opportunity for improvement and for new things to come to that neighborhood, I don't want to mischaracterize it for anybody else who might be listening to this as a failure, because it's thriving. If anybody has gone to the events at the Normandy Fountain, I literally was just talking to our director and deputy director of economic development about yet another new business that's looking to open up there. It's not glossy like what you find in South Beach, and it's, that's one of the charms of North Beach, is that it's got a little bit of a community feel and a little bit of grit to it, and that's why so many of us are passionate defenders. So I would like to support this from a city perspective and figure out what that means as we move through, but I really will have a problem if these signs don't get vetted through all the neighborhood communities. I would go so far as to include the folks at the bandshell and, residents who live just a little bit north and south on Collins, the No-B Collaborative, because we all feel a tremendous sense of pride about what's happening in North Beach, and that catalyst are right now the 2 points for that catalyst, that economic development, are the bandshell and the Normandy Fountain activations and business association. It's critical that this is a continuous, contiguous, cohesive message, and that everybody feels proud and doesn't feel like it gets forced down anybody's throat.
So we approved this in 2014, and here we are, 12 years later, and we have no signs.
And let's keep in mind that this was,
It's just unacceptable, because we were promised that iconic sign as a welcome to North Beach nearly 12 years ago, and here we are. So what I would ask Commissioner Bott is that if we do another public vetting process, and this would be like the 10th public vetting process, that we just move it forward. Because, wait, let me finish.
I'm not interrupting.
Because at this point, the funding that was approved for it, $1,359,000, is worth 30% less
I understand.
than when it was approved. So, the longer we wait on these things, I have no problem doing another community process. It's been vetted and re-vetted. Do we have the final design yet?
we do, and it's going through final permitting.
Have you, to change anything now at this hour? Well, I would like, do you have pictures of the sign so we can just show everybody? Because to start vetting this all over again could mean another 2 years. I don't think we can afford
I
to
did not
redesign what we
include as
have.
part of the memo the design for the iconic signage. This is two different proposals. One is the city's proposal for the welcome sign for Miami Beach, and the neighborhood is suggesting a sign for the neighborhood itself, not for the
So this
beach.
is just
So
neighborhood
it's two
signage, and it has
different-
nothing
yeah.
to do with the entrance signs?
That's correct. Other
Commissioner
than
Bott, have
being
you had a chance
proposed,
to see the entrance signs yet?
No, and so I haven't, and I understand that it's two different proposals, but I also understand, and I take your point about the money not being worth the same amount and taking, 11 years is insane. And I agree with that. But I will also say the last time I saw a proposed sign for Welcome to Miami Beach that was proposed at approximately the same time, but for a different part of Miami Beach, was a giant neon billboard that is dangerous. It's not, it doesn't pay homage to our city and our architecture. So I don't know where this is, but the fact that I haven't seen it, I'm a sitting commissioner, I'm a resident of North Beach, I was on the planning board for 3 years, as, deeply involved as an activist. The fact that I have not seen either one of these signs is concerning to me. And if I'm not seeing these signs, I'm pretty sure that the residents who have made the transformation happen over the last decade plus haven't seen the signs. And so I don't want I love the idea of having a Normandy neighborhood sign. I think there's a huge amount of support for it. And I also love the idea of the Welcome to Miami Beach sign being jazzed up. I really hope it doesn't include tearing down the sign when you come over the 79th Street Causeway. I hope it's more about illuminating and dressing it up, because it's beautiful and it's understated and it's respectful of the architecture and the heritage and the character of place in which it exists. So the fact that the images weren't included in the memo is problematic. The fact that nobody's seen it in a decade is problematic. I don't want to slow things down. I know how hard it is to get things permitted, but I also don't want to blindly approve something from 11 years ago when it was a very different neighborhood and aesthetics were different and priorities were different.
So if
Can
I
I
could
just-
clarify,
Wait, I just want to read something, just so that you understand where we are in this design process, because I just would like to get a sign finally.
I don't wanna
In
have-
2015,
I don't wanna
and I
have
was
just-
there, the city engaged, Schulman and Associates to prepare concept designs for the new entrance signs. The sign underwent an extensive public outreach process, including presentations for review and input from the community, Florida Department of Transportation. Both signs were presented to the mayor's Blue Ribbon panel in North Beach and received their endorsement. So now, we have done an incredibly deep community outreach, and with the state of Florida, I mean, I'm hoping that you're gonna agree with the sign that was finally chosen, because I think we have to finally
So,
move forward.
I'm hoping so as well. My goal is not to blow anything up, but I do think that just approving something that was approved 11 years ago is not the right way to go, because think about what happened in Town Center. All of that upzoning was approved 7, 8, 9 years ago, and it's disastrous, and we can't do anything about it. This is only a little sign. Let's control the things we can control.
if I could clarify for the record, it went through DRB or HBB in 2022, so it was recent. It was not funded until the GEO bond in 2018. Even then, it was funded for tranche 2 of the GEO bond. Just last year, the commission made a motion to move that funding forward into tranche 1, and that's when we began the construction documents.
So, great, let's just have just a reminder to everybody, this is the sign, this is what we're doing, make sure, and, cosmetic things can be tweaked without changing the whole MOT or whatever the alphabet soup is about where it gets placed and how. I just think it is the right thing to do to make sure all the stakeholders know about it. And also, by the way, can share the good news about it, right? Like, this is something to be celebrated community-wide. I'm not trying to blow this up. I don't want to redesign anything. I just want everyone to buy into it, saying, this is awesome. How soon can we get it built?
We are finalizing the construction contract now.
But I want people to see it before you sign anything.
Can you send us a copy of the picture today?
Absolutely.
And it's not
Okay.
just me, though. It's the community. Like Normandy Fountain Business Association, all of the stakeholders.
So we can issue a community advisory or a community update that will include the images, and I can issue an LTC that delivers the actual renderings to the board, or to the commission.
That would be great. The sooner the better. Thank you.
If you don't mind, I'd like to just chime in one last time, if we have enough time for that.
Sure.
Yes.
Thank you very much. So I understand that there's another sign that predated this sign, the one that you were just discussing with the gentleman there. However, that is unrelated to the sign that I'm proposing. As I understand, the sign the gentleman has planned, or the renderings that he had planned, has no mention whatsoever of Normandy Isle and does not reference Normandy Isle in any way, shape, or form. The sign that I'm proposing is a sign that simply says Normandy Isle, and that is placed on the eastern tip of the grassy area coming from east to west, right by the fountain, and on the western tip in the grassy area, not replacing the existing Welcome to Miami Beach sign, but rather in front of that sign, just a sign that says Normandy Isle that essentially references where you're entering, the actual island that you're entering. So the sign that the gentleman is referencing is unrelated in any way, shape, or form, and does not even mention Normandy Isle.
Right, and there are two different signs, and we understand that they have
So
different
the projects
functions.
are independent.
They're totally independent, and they both need to, well, the Normandy Isle definitely needs to be shown around to the stakeholders who are transforming that neighborhood. The Welcome to Miami Beach rather, is a little bit of a different conversation, but I think we still need to just refresh everyone's memory, but they're different conversations. And again, I'm not trying to blow anything up. I just want to make sure everybody is on board.
Sure, and I understand that as well. So can we agree then that the gentleman will engage in what you asked him to engage in, and then for the Normandy Isle sign, on our end, the Leadership Council and the community associations will essentially deliver renderings of what will be a Normandy Isle sign, independent and different from the sign the gentleman was referencing? And would you be okay if we advance that project along?
Go ahead.
So Mr. Chase is absolutely correct. They are independent or separate signs. The issue is that they are planned for the same location. And we can't
Would you
have the sign
clarify
that is
that if you
planned
don't
for the
mind?
West End occur at the same time as it just won't fit.
But no, I don't think, but they shouldn't
I
be
think it's
planned for
actually
the same.
incorrect.
They shouldn't be planned for the same location.
Okay.
The Normandy Isle sign should be on the triangle that is the Normandy Fountain Plaza, someplace
Correct.
there.
So that's on the
Exactly
east
right,
end.
that's a Normandy Isle sign on
Their
the east side.
recommendation on the west end is the same location as the entrance sign. So that's where the conflict
The
is.
sign is going, sorry to interrupt, that entrance sign is going in front of the Welcome to Miami Beach sign, the little grassy area right in front of the Welcome to Miami Beach sign.
That entire site is occupied by the Miami Beach entrance sign, the proposed sign, the
No.
city's sign.
Okay, gotcha. So the proposed sign on the west side, you're saying, is the small grassy strip sign?
That entire triangle gets occupied by the new sign. So
Okay,
what we're
gotcha. And on the east
suggesting,
side, there is, on your end, correct, that there is no proposed sign, Welcome to Miami Beach,
on
for the
the,
east side?
on the east end, we do not have a welcome to Miami Beach sign, no.
So can I make a
Oh.
suggestion, Howard? So my suggestion is, while we in North Beach know and love Normandy Isle and think it's amazing, I think there's very little foot traffic around the Welcome to Miami Beach side coming off of the 79th Street Bridge. I think where you get the biggest bang for the buck and the best branding return, and that's my background is branding, is by focusing the attention on the Normandy Fountain area. And if there's a real interest in having a second sign, perhaps something closer into that, but let's let people recognize that they are no longer in Miami, right? That they're now in
Gotcha.
Miami Beach. And then let's let people recognize, oh, and this is this amazing neighborhood of Normandy Isle in Miami Beach. So,
Sure, Commissioner Bott, I think that's a great idea. I would be more than happy to scale back this project, at least temporarily, to focus specifically on the east to west version, which is
Yeah.
on that little tip. So if that's okay with everybody on this, in this meeting, I would be more than happy to advance that on our end too.
yeah, and I would like you to be working with our neighborhood resource officers and neighborhood affairs division to help get the communication out so this doesn't fall all on your shoulders. Like, I really would like this to be a collaborative effort because we have the infrastructure at the city to reach out to the people who we want to weigh in on this. I love the fact that the community is taking the initiative and doing all this, but I want to help it be easier for you and to get it done sooner.
Very, very nice. That's great. Awesome. It's a great suggestion. I'm all about that. Commissioner Dominguez, I just want to recognize you as and say a quick thank you to you for proposing this and being so supportive. And Commissioner Bott and Rosa Gonzalez, you guys are also very much on board, it seems, as well. So thank you all. If you don't mind, perhaps Commissioner Dominguez's office, because that's the contact info I have, if you would be able to contact or send me the contact info for all of those respective boards and commissions, if you have them,
Yes.
I would be happy to begin the email chain, put it that way, to start with renderings and get some feedback from everybody.
Will do.
Thank you all very much.
Where does this item go?
If I could clarify for the record, I misspoke earlier. I was thinking of a different project. This project does not have GOB funding.
Does not,
Does not have GOB funding.
Okay, so, but the request from Howard was just as the city would pick up the maintenance of it, right?
Correct. And if that project proceeds, if the commission
Would raise
decides
the-
to go ahead with that arrangement, then that would have to be worked out.
Wait, Howard, are you still there? Howard, I
Yeah,
forget
I'm
what
still
you
here.
said.
Yeah, the idea was to essentially raise,
You guys would design and
yeah, to
install
clarify,
it, and we would
be
just maintain it.
proposing- Yeah,
How-
the installation and the maintenance, we would need the city's support. I am still here. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes,
Okay, great. Yeah, the installation and the maintenance, we would need the city support. The actual fabrication and design of the sign, we would cover the cost for those. So essentially, we would fund privately the fabrication of the sign, the design of the sign, and then the city, we would be happy to obviously to install it as well, but we would need some direction, of course, from the city and some collaboration. But the maintenance of it, there isn't too much maintenance, obviously, for like an annual basis, but the maintenance of it would probably be better suited for the city, for example, cleaning or whatever else is required.
Okay, so we're going to
Uplighting.
keep the item at committee for another meeting. Commissioner Bott will be a
So
co-sponsor.
to summarize,
and-
sorry, to summarize that, sorry, we
Yeah.
would take care of
Commissioner
design
Dominguez,
and
congratulations
fabrication.
on this
The
great
city would
initiative.
take care of
Thank you.
We
maintenance
really
and
do need to
installation.
highlight this area, and the way
Yeah.
that you're doing it is a very thoughtful way that recognizes the heritage of this area, so I fully support keeping
And
this
meeting
item
with
in
the
committee.
neighborhood association
I
and
move
the
to keep this
residents.
item in committee.
Okay, item number 8.
Okay, item number 8 is discuss the installation of an official historical marker at 1801 Bay Road, Miami Beach, the former site of Middle Ear Studio, founded by the Bee Gees. This item was sponsored by Commissioner Bott and
Madam
Parks and
Chair,
Rec will be.
I think this item is a no-brainer, Commissioner Bod. This recognizes the rich history we have in our city. I'm happy to move the item with a positive recommendation.
Great, thanks.
Second. All right, so we'll move to number 7.
Item number 7 is discuss integrating age-inclusive features into public spaces to support aging and grace and better accommodations for residents of all ages. This item was sponsored by Commissioner Rosen Gonzalez and Parks and Recs will be presenting.
Since the commissioner's not on the dais, maybe we can go to,
Number 9. Oh, that's hers too. Let's see.
would you mind taking number 18 so that we can
Okay,
quickly
number 18.
dispense off that?
Item number 18 is discuss implementing a text notification system for building inspection queue updates. This item was sponsored by Commissioner Fernandez, and Building and IT will be presenting the item, and I think Frank is online.
All right, Frank, quickly, are we ready to implement this item? Do you still need more time?
I could also read his communication if it's easier. So the part of the integration with Intergov is complete and has been tested already for several weeks. Right now, they're only pending completion on the SMS integration, which is the text part of it, okay? And it's with the vendor, and that's the only part that's left. So once that's up and working, they'll do a few more tests, and that's it. Once they've got it squared away and up and running, we'll be able to go live.
Okay, so what action do you need from us?
From you right now, nothing, just the SMS vendor to get it launched and get the communication between Intergov and the SMS worked out.
Okay, great, very excited. This is going to be such a great service to our residents and to those who want more efficiency in the building department. Under your leadership, we're delivering that. So thank you, Mr. Director.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. So number 22, please.
And just for the record, we'll close out this item. Okay. Item number 22 is discuss timeline for construction of Miami Beach Convention Center Headquarter Hotel in anticipation opening date. This item was sponsored by Commissioner Dominguez, co-sponsored by Commissioner Fernandez, and we have the hotel to be presented.
Okay, great.
Hi, good afternoon. We represent MBMU. The good news about the hotel is that we are on track for our anticipated dates for top out and hotel opening. They have not changed. Topping out in July 2026, hotel opening late 2027. And the progress since the last time we were here is that now you can see we are at the second elevated deck on the tower. We still have some foundation work to complete, but we're doing it in parallel. And we have Balfour Beatty joining us today in case we have any additional questions. The other progress that we have done is the diagonal crossing on the Convention Center Drive at 17th Street, which will help.
Yeah,
the,
so it's been
traffic.
fantastic to see the progress and being right here at City Hall, and also a very clean construction site. I think you guys
Yeah, they're
have
doing
done
a great job, they really are.
Yeah, so thank you for that update, and until the next meeting, okay?
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 2, discuss, take action regarding possible amendments to residents' right to know ordinance to enhance transparency, notice and accessibility for Miami Beach residents. This item was sponsored by Commissioner Dominguez, co-sponsored by Commissioner Bott and Commissioner Magazine. The City Attorney's Office, the clerks, and IT will be presenting this item.
Thank you. So I've had discussions with the clerk, with IT, with the city attorney, with the city manager, and one meeting wasn't giving us everything that they promised they would. It's been a huge manual process for your department, Mr. City Clerk. Residents are still not getting the information that they need, and I want to hear an update if you're,
Well, I'm hoping Frank can give the IT section of it first.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chair. Madam Chair. Frank Quintana, IT Director. So we have been having ongoing conversations, as you're aware, with the city clerk and Granicus to resolve the issues that they have been having. As of last week, they released a new version of the application that finally gave us access to the portion that we need to rebuild the residents' right to know portion. And we're actively developing that. So we hope to have that up within the next several weeks.
And Frank, they showed us yesterday a sample.
what timeline did he say?
I think he said 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, that's amazing.
Is that what you said, Frank? That's what I heard.
Yeah, we're hoping within the next 30 days.
Great.
And yesterday we saw an email where we got a sample and it worked. It had more information than we had in the past. So we're hoping that will get implemented soon.
I'm so happy to hear that. I'll keep this for the next meeting so that we can see the progress, and thank you
Thank you.
for staying on top of it. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so we'll keep this item and go on to the next one, 23.
Item 23 is Commissioner Gonzalez. Okay,
We'll actually backtrack now that Commissioner
We'll go
Rosa
back to
Gonzalez
7.
is back, number 7.
item number 7 is discuss integrating age-inclusive features into public spaces to support aging and grace and better accommodate residents of all ages. This item was sponsored by Commissioner Rosa Gonzalez, and Parks and Rec will be presenting.
Okay, John, tell us what you found.
Well, actually, we were hoping for a little, there was a very broad topic. It mentioned a lot of things, including right-of-ways and parks, and we already do a lot of things within our parks with our seating, different exercise equipment and programming. It was just hoping to get maybe funnel down a little bit more narrow direction from the committee, so we could work on a budget and a plan for this, because it's a pretty broad topic.
I think we were thinking about integrating some senior elements into parks and green spaces too. Kind of like, we had the Domino Pavilion that we shut down, but if we could add certain elements possibly to some green spaces like that, it might be great. Or exercise equipment made for seniors, if that's even a thing. I don't know if it is, but we wanted to.
Quick question, Commissioner, because you just brought up something very important. The Domino Pavilion up in North Beach. What happened to it? Like, why did it all of a sudden, why do we take this space away from the residents and the elderly people there?
The Domino Pavilion had been closed for years. It was somewhat of an attractive nuisance that was causing problems for the local residents, and they asked that it be closed. So it was actually shuttered other than if it was going to be specifically used. After sitting, there was a conversation of how could it be repurposed. We spoke to some other departments, and at the same time, they were, transportation and mobility was looking for some bicycle parking up in that area. So we have a pilot program right now that was repurposed and is open for a place for bicycles, the air fill station, the repair station. So
the Domino Pavilion was attracting nuisance, but the bicycle parking is not going to attract nuisance? I don't get it.
Well, we don't know that yet. That's why it's in the review process now. It is open. I haven't received any concerns from the police department.
And they coexist? I mean, I see in Little Havana, I mean, there's the popular Domino Park, and they manage it. And it's a beautiful gathering space for elderly people. It's a beautiful cultural attraction. I just don't understand taking away public spaces because, there's a nuisance. Well, we address the nuisance, but we don't take away the space from people.
I can tell you that it was not being used. You know very well. The Unidad's right next door, so we have a captive senior audience, and it was not being used. We even had Domino's available to check out, so if you didn't bring your own, you could go over and get them. It was just not being used for the intended use purposes.
At one point, we approved to make it a bathroom at some level, but we're not doing that anymore. I think we're gonna store bicycles there, but it is a shaded space, and I would like to see a program Domino Pavilion if we could, but maybe it's a question, before we turn it into bicycle storage, of just doing some programming so that people know it's there, because maybe people didn't know. And how long was it there before we shut it down?
It was there for several years. I can't put the exact year, but it goes back to when Mayor Philip Levine was here. That, I just go by who maybe was there, so it goes back several years.
Okay, well, going back to my item, I would like to defer this or hear it again next month. And in between, could you see if there's any kind of senior-specific exercise equipment that we could integrate into parks?
I have yes, we do have some of our equipment is, for example, at the fitness stations at Flamingo Park, which are near the dog park, at Brittany Bay, for example, some others, and also we have a presentation coming to finance to talk about creating a Muscle Beach North Beach, and in that presentation, we're going to be presenting some senior-specific equipment in that as well.
Okay, thanks. I look forward to hearing it.
All right, thanks.
Okay. Yeah, we'll keep it for another month, and then go on to number 9.
Item number 9 is explore the use of temporary structures such as mini parks or pop-up seatings to activate underutilized public spaces. This item was sponsored by Commissioner Rosen Gonzalez, co-sponsored by Commissioner Magazine, and Parks and Rec will be presenting.
Let's see. Can we skip this one?
Yes.
Okay, we'll defer it.
Let's see. Item number 5.
Item number 5 is discuss potential additional steps the city can take to increase iguana remediation. This item was sponsored by Mayor Minor, and Facilities and Fleet will be presenting the item.
Hi.
Hello, good morning, Madam Chair, committee members, Elizabeth Miro, Assistant Director for Facilities and Fleet. The item before you, we had a very similar item last month in reference to iguana remediation. Before you is basically, we have remediated about 3,000 iguanas from January to September, and we provide some input in terms of what our residents can also do to assist in the curtailing iguanas in their properties.
So you're recommending, through the chair, the potential use of iguana repellent plant species?
Yes, this information, by the way, is also available on the city's website. We provide a lot of resources there.
Though, because I don't think, for example, when I was redoing my yard, or not redoing my yard, but replacing the dead plants I have in my yard, because the high tide comes in through the city's sewer system, and then you end up with dead grass and dead plants. No, I don't think people really know about iguana repellent species. And so I think it might be good, number one, for us to better communicate this to the public. And also for us to incorporate this as part of our own landscaping. Does the city incorporate these iguana repellent species in its landscaping?
That's a question better suited probably for green space, so.
Okay. Maybe we can pass this along to the commission with a positive recommendation, because at least I do think enhanced communication to the residents, better education to the residents about iguana repellent species, and making sure that we are integrating it as we are landscaping our public spaces. I think it's something we can do. These are natural resources to help keep the area free of iguanas.
Yeah, and in my briefing, it was really stressed that this needs to be a team effort. So there's a discount code. Residents can use that discount code when it's on private property. We're doing our part on public property, so happy to move to the full commission. Number 13, Commissioner Rosen Gonzalez would like to have it deferred. And now we'll hear number 23.
Item number 23 is monthly updates on the status of ongoing future projects involving the use of the Leonard Horowitz color palette for the Art Deco buildings restoration in collaboration with Barbara Hulanicki. This item was sponsored by Commissioner Rosen Gonzalez, and Facilities and Fleet will be presented.
Yeah, and item 13, she will end up hearing after all. Okay, so 23 first.
Good morning, Frank Garcia, Facilities Management Division Director. So the Anchor Garage, the contractor has now wrapped around to the east side of the building and should complete the job in the next 2 weeks or so, weather permitting. And then the next Art Deco inspired painting project is the painting of the 13th Street parking garage. On that project, the contractor is waiting on issuance of their MOT permit from our Public Works Department, and I understand the job will take approximately 5 to 6 weeks from issuance of their permit. The next project would be the band shell, and while the colors have been chosen for the band shell and vetted by our planning department, that particular paint job will be coordinated down the line by our capital improvement projects office, as they are currently spearheading the expansion to the band shell.
I don't know if you guys have seen, we've done 3 buildings so far. The Colony Theater, which looks beautiful. We painted the Anchor Garage, or finishing the Anchor Garage, and that looks spectacular too. So I'm really excited about 13th Street Garage because right now it's painted like beige and orange and not Art Deco at all. What colors are the 13th Street Garage going to be? Do you know?
I do not have the renderings on hand. I can get back to you guys.
Okay, and that's going to start when do you expect to get the permit?
Once the permits are issued, it should be relatively quick after that, but it will take at least 5 to 6 weeks for completion.
I would love to issue press releases on the, Melissa, if we could, as long as we're here, to highlight the Colony Theater, and when we finish the Anchor Garage, to highlight what we did with Barbara, and maybe do a little ribbon cutting there, because we do want to get press. As we paint the buildings, they really are starting to pop, and we want to showcase them as much as possible so that we generate positive press for South Beach, the historic district. So thank you guys for moving on this.
Quick question, what's the status of the awnings for the Colony Theater?
They're installed.
They're installed? Oh, I haven't seen them yet.
It looks beautiful.
I
Have you
can't
seen the
wait to see
Colony?
them. The building looks beautiful with the
Yeah.
color.
Yeah, it's
Amazing.
Okay, let's hear number 13.
Item number 13 is discuss the Design Review Board's recommendation regarding parklet design guidelines. This item was sponsored by Commissioner Rosen Gonzalez, and Public Works will be presenting the item.
Good afternoon, John Norris, Public Works Director. We brought some recommendations to you to revise the design guidelines for parklets, and we would recommend making those revisions and bringing them to full commission for consideration.
So let me explain to you what I'm doing here, guys, and I want to thank Charlie for his hard work on the parklets. Around the city, we still have parklets that we started during the pandemic, and some of them are very successful, but they're not, some of them are, I would say, a little unsightly with the fake grass, and one of them looks like fake grease. I don't know. So we're trying to come up with better design guidelines, and I don't even see, did you include the design guidelines on here, or did you pictures of what we're doing? Okay.
Yes, it should be attached.
Okay, so this is to update the parklet designs, so that all the umbrellas are standard. Okay, and we're going to try to, standardize the colors and designs so that they don't all look so different. Have you seen some parklets? Not all parklets are created equal. Yeah, so we're just going to update these, and they're gonna look neater. I think they're gonna look more elegant or upscale, I would say, in some ways. So, I'm okay to move it to the full commission.
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, so number 25.
Okay, item number 25 is explore the possibility of a unified valet system from 5th to 15th Street on Ocean Drive, Collins Avenue, and Washington Avenue. Parking will be presenting the item, sponsored by Commissioner Dominguez and co-sponsored by Paul.
All right, so I've been having meetings with the parking department, with the Ocean Drive Association. I'm not sure this is quite yet, ready yet, but I'd love to hear an update.
So not quite ready yet. We could keep it here in the committee. However, we've had some very productive conversations with the ODA. We worked together to create some questionnaires to go out to the stakeholders that that kind of make up that Ocean Drive area. I know the last communication that I received was that they had just received the responses back. We have to set up the meeting to go over those responses. We've also brought our transportation partners into the conversation regarding some temporary stopgaps to talk about when, for example, Ocean Drive shuts down to traffic, where we can relocate some of those valet stands, maybe on the 100 blocks, but obviously with there being no exit, we have to bring our transportation partners to see what is and what is not allowed. But they're being great partners, and we're working on trying to find a better solution at this time.
Thank you for that, so we'll keep this on for another month.
I would love to co-sponsor this with you if possible. I think one of the most important things we can do is get accessible valet parking so that we reduce the price of parking, no matter what the cost, and we have a unified system so you can drop your car off in one place, pick it up in another place, just like the design district, which is so seamless, using the best technology. It's accessible to everyone. It is subsidized by the design district owners, but I would consider this type of subsidy to be something pivotal so that people return to 5th to 15th Street. It's so important. Why is it taking so long?
So I think there's, I'll remove the subsidy aspect of it, because it's a much different conversation, a much larger one. However, so this is an ecosystem, and whereas the design district, the ecosystem all serves one entity, I can't even begin to imagine how many different stakeholders there are from 5th to 15th, and so you would.
There's currently like 9 valet.
That's just the valets, the different restaurants and
Right.
hotels that they service. So obviously, there's going to be each service provider, each hotel is going to be like, but I love mine, but I love my company.
Right.
And so there's a lot of individuals that are playing in this arena, and so that's why it makes it a little bit more.
And the convenience aspect, one of them is if somebody goes to 5th Street and has dinner at Avalon and then decides to walk all the way north, they can pick up their car where they ended up their walk. They don't have to go back to the initial stop. And this is something that happens in other parts of the county.
Can't we just say that we're gonna do it, and we put out an RFP and let them compete to give us the best prices for valet parking and decide on a number,
I
a
don't wanna.
subsidy, and then just say, hey, guys, look, we're doing this for the good of everyone, and whoever's gonna give us the best price, we're gonna work with you.
I don't want to punt this to our city attorney's office, but I feel that at that point in time, we would be forbidding anybody along Ocean Drive from having valet other than a city-controlled valet. And I know that there are certain hotels that run, they are revenue centers. So the city would essentially be commandeering the entire valet operation from every operator on Ocean Drive. And I don't know what that looks like.
I'm fine, I want you guys to be able to reach out to the stakeholders to gather all the information that you need. I'm fine giving you the time that you need in order to do this. I know your department's also handling a lot of issues right now. We're unveiling the decals, and that's a lot of people that are going to be going through your department. And so you guys have a very full plate, and I think your plate is overtopping right now.
Well, why don't we hold a meeting with all of the stakeholders and talk to them about this and explain that we want something more streamlined, more accessible, but we have to present them with something that works. Let's say that we want to keep all the independent operators, right? Could they somehow work together?
I mean,
to get this done. I mean, this isn't going to be a pleasant transition, but I think it needs to happen because everyone else has this unified valet system. Coral Gables has it, the design district has it. You can valet park at Brickell City Center, and yet we can't get it. I mean, there has to be a transition. I know it's not easy, but maybe if we start to discuss what it is that we want. We can come to a better place. I think we need to sit down in a meeting with them.
Well, and we've had, I want to say at this time, three meetings with the ODA and the stakeholders. So I think we're headed in the right direction. I don't know what the ultimate destination will end up being. I think that's part of the conversation and the exploration that we're going through right now. But
Why don't we, instead of doing Ocean Drive, which is a biggie because there's so many people, why don't we just do Washington Avenue first? I know that we have some concessions on Washington. It's very expensive. It's $25 to valet park, and people don't really want to pay that. So why don't we grab some lower hanging fruit, do it on Washington Avenue, hear me out, and once we're successful with that model on Washington, then we can, move it forward in other places.
I invite you to be part of the discussions. We've had multiple meetings with Ceci and the ODA, and then I don't want to exclude them.
Well, no, we don't want to exclude them, but if it's so controversial and maybe Washington Avenue isn't, we can, bifurcate. We continue the Ocean Drive conversation, but we move forward with something like Washington, which could be more palpable, because how many operators do we have on Washington, for example?
And that's the
city.
point. So Ocean Drive is iconic. It has restaurants. Who's walking from 5th to 15th on Washington?
Residents, many times, want to go to dinner at places like
The residents do the trolley.
Tony Sushi. No, not people like me from Mid Beach. I always go down to Tony Sushi. Sometimes I can't find parking. It's very difficult. But if I had accessible, affordable parking, I would certainly head down in that direction. So, we could start off kind of like we're doing with the valet system in North Beach, like just, weekends or something.
Commissioner, I want to be respectful of the chair because she is the sponsor of this item. And I want to make sure that this proceeds at the pace that our chair feels comfortable proceeding in. And I've heard from the community, from business owners about the engagement that Madam Chair has been having with stakeholders. Sometimes it does take maybe a little bit of extra time to get it right, but it's better to unveil it when it's all proper to be unveiled and get it right the first time than to prematurely unveil it and then we run into conflicts. And Madam Chair, I've heard from the business community, they're excited about this, but they also know that you're doing your due diligence to make sure that it's done right and making sure that all the I's are dotted, that the T's are crossed, so they don't run into any conflicts once it's unveiled. So I'll defer to your judgment so that we get this done right.
All right, so we're going to keep this on committee. And Commissioner, I invite you to please reach out to Ceci and have a discussion with her. And the Unified Valet was to include Collins and Washington. So I just want to make sure that the ODA is on board with doing a different street than Ocean.
Look, I hear you. I want to see it happen, however it happens. But if Ocean is going to be controversial, it would help Ocean Drive if we were able to roll out something easier first. That's all I'm suggesting.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so now number 28, which I think started out being yours, and then Fernandez and I co-sponsored, Commissioner Fernandez. Is it 28 or 26? 26.
Item number 26 is discussion regarding the establishment of a unified valet system in the 41st Street Commercial Corridor. Parking will be presenting the item.
I just don't even think there's any place to go. I mean, there's ample parking. The one restaurant at nighttime that's hopping is Cafe Avanti, and I never have a problem parking there. I just don't know who's going to use it. Where are they going? Where are they valeting and going?
So, this is, I want to say, in my position as parking director, I'm more than happy to advise and consult with any business improvement district, any community organization regarding parking needs. This particular item is not something that I think is supported by the need, by the facts for the area. So obviously, when you have a certain thing, you can use Washington Ave, you can use Collins, you can use Ocean Drive, Lincoln Road. I don't necessarily feel that 41st Street reaches that criteria. We have a large open lot that sits vacant, has a lot of occupancy during the most of the day. We have several hundred spaces in our garage that are available.
Madam Chair, I would like to suggest, maybe let's just keep it in the committee, because what I want to see is, how does the other item progress? What are we able to figure out with the stakeholders, and what framework is being able to be put in place? I think that is where we have the greater need in South Beach, in that business district that we have in South Beach. And let's work that out. Let's keep this in committee. Because I don't think that we're ready for this yet. I don't know even if the demand is there today, so that we can put our focus where we know that for sure there's a great demand for it right now.
Okay, that's fine.
I would add one thing. At night, I don't think it's necessary, but sometimes during the day, it does get more difficult to park over there. So daytime is a little harder. So if we did do something, it would have to be between, 9 to 5.
And I do know also that, having this conversation could be something attractive for businesses that may be considering coming to the corridor. The same way the parklet conversation that we expanded the parklets on 41st Street, that has become now a business development incentive for the corridor. The waiver of mobility and concurrency fees, that's yet another. So I think keeping the conversation alive can help the corridor while we focus more on creating the framework on the Washington Avenue, Collins Avenue, Ocean Drive segment of this.
And I also want to make it very clear to the committee that as the parking director, I wholly rely on feedback and conversations with our transportation division, because we do not live in a silo. And so while I think that there are parking challenges that we can solve with parking, I think in other areas of the city, we can look at micromobility and public transportation to maybe take a stab at other areas that may not necessarily have a parking need at the time, but we can do some smart people movers throughout other areas.
I do think for the future, we do need to keep it in our agenda for conversation, because we do know, we have our 41st Street our 41st Street project that will yield a certain loss of parking on 41st Street itself. And so while we're not ready to move forward with this today, and the dynamics might not be there today, I think we need to plan for the future, be forward thinking, and keep this on the agenda as we work out the.
That's fine. So we can go to number 4?
And Madam Chair, I'm going to have to leave after this item.
Okay.
When do you want that item to come back? Do you want that in a few months, or?
Yeah.
Item number 4 is discuss potentially placing quiet zone signage in various residential areas around city waterways. This item was sponsored by Commissioner Suarez and co-sponsored by Commissioner Rosa Gonzalez. Environmental will be presenting the item.
Is David on? Okay, so you're the co-sponsor, Kristen, so, Commissioner Rosa Gonzalez.
I don't know about you all, but one of the complaints I get over and over again is speeding boats from people living on the water, and it's dangerous. They don't want to swim. So putting in these signs, I think, is really important for the residents living on the water. And where are we in the process?
When I've been on a boat and in the Brickell area, you see those signs on the seawall that says quiet residential zone.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Lindsay Precht, Deputy Resilience Officer and Assistant Director of the Environment and Sustainability Department. This item was referred in June to the Public Safety Committee to discuss next steps. Visibility, durability, and maintenance of the signs is a very important consideration for this item, and both Marine Patrol and Code have noted that vessels typically maintain a 50 to 100 foot buffer from seawalls, and so signage must be large enough to be visible from that distance. Posting signage on land or on seawalls that are city-owned minimizes the regulatory approvals that would be required. If signage is mounted landward, we wouldn't need to go through that extensive permitting process, but if we post things on the wet face or on top of a cap, that could require additional permitting from agencies like Miami-Dade County DERM. Waterway markers is an alternative. However, that would require extensive regulatory approvals, and a lot of the agencies that would be involved have indicated that there's some reticence to install more. They are navigational concerned, they can impact resources, and they do want to minimize sign pollution. Also, the permitting and cost associated with that could be extensive. So as a result, we could look at potential pilot locations to look at city-owned seawalls, install signage landward at the size that's appropriate to minimize cost.
And I'm sorry, landward, you mean on the dry side? But
Correct.
not on the cap of the seawall?
Correct.
Because the cap of the seawall, then you gotta go and get the DERM and all the other approvals.
Correct,
It
yes.
wouldn't be the same for a private seawall, an owner can't just put it on.
Exactly,
But they
yeah.
could do it on land.
Yes, that is correct. So if we're looking to perhaps do a pilot project, we could look at some areas that have repeat offenses and, you know, calls to code and police regarding these noise violations. We did indicate that there were some potential pilot locations in the memo, including Monument Island, Maurice Gibb Park, the West Avenue street ends, the Venetian Causeway easements. Marine Patrol also further identified additional areas such as the Star, Palm, and Hibiscus Islands, Belle Isle, Surprise Lake, Lagorce, Indian Creek north of 63rd Street, Normandy Shores, Biscayne Point, Stillwater, and Tatum Waterway. And we could reduce some of the costs if this was done in-house, the signs themselves, by the parking department. But we would need a consultant that would, you know, design and move through that process.
But
to
we don't need a consultant to design the sign. I mean, we have a communications department that can do this in-house.
This is not gonna move the needle. I think we need signs in the waterway. I mean, so
Well, but I
that
think-
voters can see them.
I
I
th-
mean,
I think-
it really needs to be done right.
Well, there's
And-
there's two things, because, you know, the ones in the waterway, like we know, that needs DERM approval, needs FWC approval, it needs DEP approval, it needs the Army Corps of Engineers, you need the Coast Guard, so it's a long bureaucratic process. Also, the cost is over $100,000, I believe, these signs in the water, and you're right, the goal should be to get those signs in the water, but in the meantime,
One waterfront home pays for that. One property tax, half the property taxes on one waterfront home pays for that signage cost, okay? We have $50 million homes, and they're paying tremendous amounts of taxes, so I would like to move forward with all the regulatory processes. I do not want to put signs for the water on land. That, to me, does not make any sense unless if we could move forward with both. In the interim,
with both.
do the signs on land.
Yeah.
But I would like us to move forward to the full commission and have signs in the waterways. It doesn't matter what the cost is. If it's gonna be $100,000, well, so be it, and we'll reach out to the state. We'll explain that it's public safety, that we need to do this, and it's a real problem with people speeding in the waterways. It has to happen. I also see that Chad is here representing the Venetian Islands Homeowners Association.
Thank you. Actually, I'm on my own today.
Oh, that's
well,
right.
I
You
guess I
have
could
to
say,
register,
yeah,
well, not yet.
I guess I could say MWPA, though. But yeah, we have a lot of complaints about noise, too.
Yeah.
So I do think, and in speaking with Sergeant Fernandez, he said a lot of the people that come to Monument Island aren't necessarily regulars. You know, they're new boaters, so they don't necessarily know our laws. And they've changed, you know, now it's 100 feet. And I think people underestimate how far noise travels across water. So I do think that these would be great items. On the Venetian Islands, we have the street ends. The city has easements on them, and they're your seawalls. So go for it.
and we also have street ends, Palm Hibiscus, we have street ends there, where we could do that. I think the landwards, I mean, that is short-term solution, stuff that we can do quickly on Monument Island, you know, very efficiently get signs there. While Commissioner Wilson Gonzalez, you're absolutely right. The real solution, then the most effective solution, is putting it in the water, but knowing the regulatory process that goes into it. I mean, how long do you think, Lindsay, it would take us to get that approved?
I would say it's not only the length, I would also say it's the reticence that the regulatory agencies have expressed to us about installing more waterway markers. Our team has been in working to install several, and we've hit several roadblocks of both FWC and the Coast Guard just not being willing to install any more and saying that they're unnecessary even for public safety.
And what about in manatee zones? Can't we put signs up that say, slow down, we have manatees? Because I know we have the manatee plan.
Those are actually some of the ones that we've tried to install, both manatee signage and seagrass bed signage, and they've indicated that those actually cause additional navigational concerns. We recently installed 5 waterway markers adjacent to the Miami Beach Marina, and within 24 hours of one of them being installed, it was hit by a vessel.
We have to move forward with this, as difficult as it is. I would like to give direction to move forward with both tracks.
Yep.
Okay, and get to yes on this. We can get to yes. I think we can have some meetings with the state, explain what the problem is. I know that we have residents who are going to appreciate our efforts, and we got to be able to get to yes.
So I move this item with a positive recommendation back to the city commission to do the landward signs where we have dead ends and where we have bridges and all that, and then separately to start the regulatory process to get the approvals to put them in the waterways as well.
Agreed, I second.
Okay, I'll second. Okay, can you stay for 14?
Yes. How long do you think it'll be?
It'll be a fast one. Item number 14.
Okay, item number 14 is discuss the potential of an artistic mural at the Miami Beach Municipal Parking Garage located at 17th Street. This item was sponsored by Commissioner Rosa Gonzalez, and Tourism and Culture will be presenting.
So how are we going to beautify that garage?
Good afternoon, Lisa Arrogante, Director of Tourism and Culture, City of Miami Beach. In the memo before you, we provide a 2-step recommendation for the artistic mural. One is a temporary wrap that we can do to capitalize on all the sporting events that we have coming up. And the second option is a more permanent mural to help with wayfinding for Lincoln Road.
I would love to have a permanent, iconic mural. I don't know, it depends on what the wrap looks like, if you want to do the wrap in the interim, but I would move forward with something really beautiful so that as people exit the convention center, everything else is under construction. Let's just get something beautiful. Let's do a call to artists locally and have them present, I don't know how, I guess Art in Public Places would vet them.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, that's what I would move to the full commission. How do you feel about that?
I actually, during my briefing, really liked the wrap. It would have a sports theme, and we have the college football championships here in Miami Beach next year. We have 7 games of the FIFA World Cup. The cost is significantly less. I think it would be amazing to have a wrap. And maybe during that time, we could do a call to artists for the following year.
Could we
But
do
I
both?
really loved it.
Could
I'll
we-
move to do both. I think
we need
both
to-
are great ideas. I
Okay.
think we need to capitalize on the sports activities that are coming into our city, and it also builds upon our health and wellness branding that we're trying to do. While we do a call to artists and find someone really great, how exciting would it be to discover an artist in our community and give them the opportunity of getting this building and adding some color and life to it. So, Madam Chair, if you allow me, I would like to make a motion to send both step 1 and 2 to the.
If I may, I believe it also will need to go to FERC to identify funding.
Okay, so it has to go back to the full commission with a referral to FERC? Does it need to go to FERC?
Well, it needs to go back to the full commission, and then that they move from there either to FERC
Okay.
or by a
Okay.
waiver, or however they want to do it.
Well, I mean, I would do it, move it to the full commission with a waiver from going to FERC, and let's just get it done.
Thank you.
Tell her.
Could we please defer item number 6?
Let's see, before you leave, did you want to discuss 30?
No.
So did you want to move that?
Yeah, let's just continue.
Okay. Is Commissioner Magazine on for item 15?
Madam Chair, I'm going to have to step out unless there's a time-sensitive item
Yeah,
that
let me
needs to
look
get
and
heard.
see.
There's a moment I leave, then the committee loses quorum.
You know, I'd love to hear number 28.
Item number 28 is monthly updates on efficiency of enhanced enforcement related to excessive vehicular noise. This item will be presented by police.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee, Assistant Chief Daniel Morgallo on behalf of Chief Wayne Jones and the Police Department. So I'm happy to report that our continued efforts to address loud noise from vehicles, loud noise in general throughout the city, our officers doing a tremendous job focusing on this among the many enforcement priorities that we have for the organization. To date, for 2025, we've written a total of 539 citations for exhaust systems, motor vehicle noise, loud noise, horns, and warning devices and operation of radios or other mechanical sound-making devices. That exceeds the 2024 total, which was 423. So we're already 116 citations above what we were for the total of 2024, and we're going to continue these efforts moving forward. Since we instituted this particular focused enforcement throughout the city, specifically Area 1 on the 5th Street and south of 5th area, which is what was mandated in the resolution, Area 2, 41st Street and the Collins Corridor, and Area 3, 71st Street. We've written a total of 146 citations in the time period that we've been focusing on this between 9:30 p.m. and 2 a.m., which is what the resolution mandated. Of those 146 citations, 65 have been in Area 1, which is the one that leads the other two areas for enforcement. 48 of those are loud exhaust, 15 of those are loud music, 2 are loud noise. In Area 2, we've had 35 citations issued, 34 of them for loud exhaust, 1 for loud noise. And in Area 3, we've issued 46, 38 for loud exhaust, 2 for loud music, and 6 for loud noise.
Okay. And one thing that I've heard a lot from residents, particularly south of 5th and West Avenue, is there is technology available, noise camera. And my understanding from speaking with the MBPD is that we can't use that in enforcement right now because the state prohibits us. So is that correct?
That's my understanding.
Yeah, my
yes.
understanding too. So I reached out to our lobbyists in Tallahassee and asked them to put it on the legislative agenda for this year. I've been in conversations with them, and currently Tallahassee is having committee meetings, and there is something about using noise cameras for enforcement. So we're going to be speaking with a representative legislator to help us hopefully get that approved so that next year we'll be able to use noise cameras. But that's something that I'm really working on to get in the works. Thank you for the update.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, let's see here. 11.
Okay, item number 11 is discussing initiatives to expedite processing of new business tax receipts and related permits. This item was sponsored by Commissioner Rosa Gonzalez, co-sponsored by Commissioner Dominguez, Commissioner Suarez, Commissioner Magazine, and Planning and Finance will be presenting.
Okay, as you know, this is one of the biggest complaints we have. I think a lot of it has to do with the technology interface that we have. And you guys were there in the presentation where the woman showed how the city of Aventura's process was so much easier, than ours. I have an item coming up at the next meeting to copy the technological interface and to copy their 5-step process, which works, in addition to getting your initial approval or initial feedback within 48 hours instead of 30 days. So we're serious about fixing this problem. I mean, this has to be the focus of everything because we're getting a reputation for being the most unfriendly place to open a business in the county. So where are we on your end in planning? Because I think one of the biggest complaints I get is the amount of time it takes to approve a sign. That has to get changed too. So
The focus of this memo was primarily on the CU BTR process, because that permit, we understand, still has a lot of challenges. In the memo, we've identified some of the common challenges that are associated with delays in the issuance of the CU and eventually the BTR. And that pertains to things like a lack of a current certificate of occupancy, a lack of a current BTR, incomplete floor plans, the need to obtain a change of use permit. There are certain things that can trigger a delay. If somebody has a retail business and they're going to restaurant, oftentimes they would need to submit a floor plan, they would need to get building permit approval for that change of use. So some of the complexity has to do with the types of uses that are currently existing and what is being proposed. If somebody's going retail to retail, those are the types of very easy permits that are typically not a problem. Some of the things that we've identified in the memo in terms of improvement initiatives include the following: establishing a CU-BTR coordinator position so that people that have the more challenged applications can have more personalized assistance. The other one would be to amend the land development regulations to make the regulations easier in terms of uses permitted, also in terms of the requirements that end up causing the need for a mobility fee and a parking impact fee can be looked at. And then finally, we've been exploring ways that we can better consolidate the CU and BTR processes. Currently, because everything is so separate, oftentimes people will actually get a CU, but they won't get the fire inspection, or they'll get the fire inspection and they get the CU, but they don't follow through on the BTR, and eventually the CU expires. And so we're looking for ways that we can ensure that once somebody starts the process, that they actually follow through and finish the entire process.
So I would go with number 2. Amend the LDR for the purpose of reducing the amount of information, documentation, and expenses associated with CU applications. So we'd have to do this via ordinance.
Yeah,
Can you
you'd have
prepare
to-
something for next week, or is that too?
We wouldn't be able to prepare something for next week, but to the extent that the commission wanted to discuss that and refer something or direct us to prepare something, we could bring something back for potential referral perhaps in December
And bring it
to the
to
commission
the
for referral
commission.
to the planning
Are
board.
you okay with that?
Sure.
Okay, yes, that's number 2. Let me see on number 3. Consolidate the CU and BTR processes, make it one process?
Well, it wouldn't be one process per se, but it would better integrate them, because the CU being issued is different from the BTR being issued. But what we would like to do is find a way to ensure that the process is more holistic, and that once they start the process, that there's a better way for the applicant to go from the start to the finish. Right now, it's a little choppy, and our concern is that they start it but don't actually finish it.
Okay, so I agree with all 3, including getting a person. First of all, how many CU, BTR requests do we get monthly, for example?
I don't know about monthly. I know that we have roughly 7,000 BTRs, and most are renewed pretty easily.
But how many like new requests do we get?
I'd say probably between 200 and 300.
Okay, so I think that
Is that accurate?
justifies,
Okay.
that justifies one person, because I do want to make sure that instead of waiting the 30 days and somebody only gets their initial feedback on day 29, that within 48 hours, they get an initial response from us. And if that takes one person or it takes 2 people even, this is something that we really need to work on. So I agree, I would agree to all 3. Having extra help, streamlining and removing cost and information needed to open the business, because we're over requiring information. And number 3, consolidating the process. Are you okay with all 3 of those?
Yes.
Yes, by acclamation.
All right, so we'll bring those to the commission in December with an explanation and the referral information.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, let's see. Can we go down to number 29?
Item number 29 is discussion on reviving employee shuttle program and other transportation solutions for Fontainebleau hotel staff. This item was sponsored by Commissioner Dominguez, and transportation will be presenting.
Okay, so I've had a few conversations with the HR department of the Fontainebleau Hotel. That's our number 2 employer in Miami Beach as far as number of employees, and most of them live in Miami-Dade or Broward County, so they are taking up hundreds of cars in traffic. And one thing that I discussed with the Fontainebleau HR department was what can we do? And they told me that they had a program years ago that they sponsored, and they would shuttle and pick up employees in certain spots around Dade County. And they would be open to looking that again. Another program that they had was an incentive that if employees came forward to a car, they would get free valet. In one of my discussions, they said that they were speaking with your department, O'Neill, the transportation team, on a survey. And my understanding is that the initial survey results were quite low because participation wasn't there from the Fontainebleau employees. So we were moving to a next step, and I'd love to hear an update.
Yes. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and Commissioner Rosa Gonzalez. O'Neill Rodriguez, Assistant Director with the Transportation and Mobility Department. Last time we discussed this item, Commissioner, we provided an update on that survey. As you said, we only received 29% of the workforce in the Fontainebleau, and the direction was to proceed to conduct another survey. The original survey that was conducted was tailored more to a different initiative that we're working within our department to have those shuttles. Now, the survey that we want to conduct for this particular service, which is the program that South Florida Commuter Services provides, is a little different. South Florida Commuter Services provide vans to the employers where they can carpool and come to work together. So we're working with the South Florida Commuter Services to develop a slightly different questionnaire for the workers in the Fontainebleau, so that way we could get that feedback and be more tailored to the services that South Florida Commuter Services provides. So that's something that is currently ongoing. Once those questions have been developed and finalized, we'll be sharing that with the Fontainebleau to disseminate to their workers. Another update that was requested by this committee was the BIRD, the Beach Express, North Bus Express Rapid Transit System, the BIRD, where we are with that. So we had communications with Miami-Dade County, and unfortunately, they themselves don't have a start date for that service. That's the rapid transit system that would come from the Golden Glades. And the reason why that they expressed to us as to why that service has not started is as a result of lack of resources, including funding constraints and also fleet limitations. And unfortunately, they don't have a date that they can provide us as to when they anticipate starting that service. But however, we continue to have those conversations with Miami-Dade County, and we'll continue to have those conversations with South Florida Commuter Services to conduct that survey with the Fontainebleau.
Okay, I'd like to keep this at committee, and I'll reach out to you separately so that we can have more meetings with the Fontainebleau. This is so important, because if we can get this hotel to make this a success, then we can reach out to the Lowe's and other hotels that have a lot of employees and get cars off the road. So the discussion will continue. Commissioner Rosa Gonzalez needs to leave, so we will lose quorum. So we'll wrap up the meeting for today. Thank you, everybody in the city administration, and have a great afternoon.
Thank you.